Hi, readers. It's Lauren. Happy Thursday. Hope you've had a decent week so far. Today, we're going to go ahead and get started on chapter 5 of the Last Consort series for book 2 adaptation. So get ready. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Chapter 5. Push that salsa over to me, Malachi. You're hogging the whole container. The boy forced the plastic container closer to Hunter, his cheeks rounded, a bit of onion falling from his lip onto the yellow paper right beneath him. The hunter shooed away a fly while he generously poured the green sauce over the top portion of a burrito, the afternoon sun casting its power against the clear blue of an autumn sky. Malachi, the 20-year-old kid he'd been helping, sat next to him on a dirty park picnic table, seated not far from a couple of salt and peppered haired gentlemen playing dominoes and uttering complaints about the current Republican Congress and how they were just making things worse. They'd be completely oblivious to their conversation. The kid lived in a room with a window and a bed, a laundry area on the bottom floor, and a communal restroom, belonging nowhere in particular and going no place faster than he should have. He probably only ate foods wrapped in paper without the use of a fork or knife and smoked marijuana like it was his daily vitamin. Chips, Malachi? Hunter asked, shaking a greasy brown bag. The boy nodded and poured a serving over the soiled yellow sheet that had once covered the burrito. Malachi ate with a nod of his head, as if synthesizing and bopping to a melody only heard by him. His oddly colored hair appeared unkempt and messy with purpose, one side covering his enlarged earlobes. The kid was a misguided mess, but had keyed Hunter in on his living situation, which so happened to be run by Rochelle Evans. So did Her Majesty stop by this morning? No, man. She had some guy stop by and talk with Melanie at the front desk. Dark hair, tatted, dressed really sharp, looks like he could fuck up your face. Hunter took a swig of soda from a foam cup and wiped his teeth with his tongue as he listened. I think she messes with folks. Or maybe she has him do it or something covert. They're doing something to them. Them. He had once been one of them, years before. A naive 19-year-old feeling lost in college, unfit and forced into a square puzzle when he was obviously the wrong shape, more curved and blotched. He wasn't his father, a dedicated military vet who wanted his sons to follow suit. His only brother chose the same path, died in some tiny dusty city in a country where he wasn't wanted and treated like branded cattle. Hunter had found a way to make a change through James Evans. That is, until he realized that it had all been a mistake. He later found his love dead from a gunshot wound, a bullet shattering her gracious heart, her toxic blood spilled and shared with his two sons. They became Evans' tools for his cause, and he had been too weak to stop. Did you get what I asked you for? Of course, answered Malachi. The boy pulled a flashcard from a pocket in his wallet and handed it to him. Just don't get me kicked out for doing this kind of shit for you. Hunter crunched on a few chips from the bag, directing his attention to the sound instead of Malachi. I wanted to show you something, the boy said, taking out his phone. Hunter wordlessly prompted Malachi to keep on with his conversation. The kid reminded him of his own son, William. Perhaps it was just the part of him that missed those years with his sons, the occasional lunch or discussion over coffee. Malachi was simply a lot oilier and possessed the ability to live with satisfaction in his convictions. He had made his bad decisions because he had taken advantage of the power of choice. Here it is, he shared the screen. Got a hold of this shit from Rochelle's office. I think someone was threatening her with it. Hunter watched a shaky video of a video, the image blue and not easy to make out. Desperate pleas sounded over the scene of what appeared to be a teenage kid. Hunter moved Malachi's hand to get a better look at the scene. Then the figure suddenly moved. Voices activated in the blue. The kid looked like he was aggressively punching another man right before he reached backwards. Then a bright flash. A gunshot took center of the darkness. He killed him. You saw that, right? Hunter kept staring at the phone, thinking he knew exactly what he was watching. Why did it suddenly appear in Rochelle's office in her cover-up do-gooder hotel for the unwanted? The boy's face returned front and center, a look of desperate helplessness lingering along enough for anyone to see that what was happening there was wrong. Then Albert Wright's face near the camera's lens to shut it off. This face belonged to one of his sons. What was she doing with that? You tell me. I just saw a murder, answered Malachi. Don't show that to anyone. In fact, send it to me and delete it. What the fuck, man? Look, really, kid, I'm not going to screw you, but I am going to keep your nose clean enough where others don't suspect you of having a cold. All right? I don't want you to suffer as someone else has. Your son? Yeah, him. Both, but more him. Hunter never could shake the look that William gave him during his moment of vulnerability, pleading for his protection. You've got footage for the last month. It's gotten pretty busy around there. Look, I've got to have to find another place soon, too. Rochelle keeps eyeballing me, hinting that it's a temporary living situation. Hunter chuckled. You stop fucking the front desk chick. Malachi tapped the ceramic table with his fist. Her Marine boyfriend surprised us one afternoon. Came right into Rochelle's office. Hunter nodded as he stuffed his trash into one bag. If you need a place to stay, Malachi, you can stay with me. It's just me and this damn squirrel that sits on my balcony. The thing is starting to creep me out. I think it likes to watch this show on Hulu. Cool. Malachi balled up his stained paper from his meal and threw it like a basketball pro into a metallic barrel of a trash can just a few feet away. I've got to get to my gig. Thanks for lunch. Just give us some popcorn. Thanks for the info. Hunter watched as the kid rolled out a skateboard ahead of him, jumped on its back, and skated away. He had a good reason to believe that who he was looking for was the star of the show at Rochelle's act of charity, or at least connected to it all. Obvious to only a few people what he was doing and why he was doing it. Chapter break. A hotel room? William asked into his phone. Yeah, only two folks enter, Rochelle and Alan. He looks like he was visiting twice a week most recently. And the other guy who is not going into the room, what does he look like? Never seen him before. Shorter, dark hair, sort of stocky, tattoos all over his arms and neck. No, this guy was tall. No tattoos. I can't seem to pinpoint where I've seen him before, or if I ever have. Will, how are you doing? Hunter asked. William sat in the parking lot of a multi-use store, the kind of place where consumers could buy a seasonal piece of clothing and the laundry detergent needed to wash it. The day was passing by at an eerily slow pace, as if counting down to disaster. He weighed Hunter's question carefully before he admitted the truth. I'm a new kind of overwhelmed. What's that like? It's Gwenn. She might be showing symptoms. William had to pull some strings to maintain a relationship with the doctor he trusted down in Mexico. He was the only physician he allowed to touch him outside of emergencies. He'd remained as one of the only connections to Evans he willingly kept. Dr. Young had confirmed an anomaly in Gwenn. She simply hadn't acted the same way as he. They were not too sure of the medical explanation why. William hated the reality that he had doomed another person and that he could still doom another. I don't know how to deal with this. 30 years and I still struggle with myself. How am I supposed to deal with a kid? The Allen incident couldn't come at a worse moment. William remained locked in the surrounding quiet of his family's vehicle, admitting his discomforts he had not anticipated sharing. Events were no longer only about him. He had made a promise to a defenseless kid, his own child, a promise that he hadn't anticipated being as monumental as anything he had ever committed to. He was never made for parenting. Whoever was, but him? Well, when I found out that something wasn't right with you and your brother, I didn't tell your mom. Then she found out. That's how I lost her and the two of you. Talk to Patricia, talk to Gwenn, then talk to yourself. I'm sure you love Gwenn, issue or not. I do. That's the problem. I can't always protect her from something she can't help. That I can barely help. I'm supposed to protect them. Silence danced on the other end of the phone. It lingered for a good moment. Well, take care of the Allen issue. You must know that something is stewing. We've just got to figure out what window the stink is coming from. Just embrace Gwenn. Catch up on lost time. She's your kid. She'll be okay. He hated how his father often found a way to be right in certain circumstances. Perhaps this potential trait coincided over time. The journey he had never before planned continued. Accepting his nuances had been a challenge. When he first took her hand in the burning cabin, Had he seen the glow of the sunrise against her face, felt her lips against his skin in the confines of a hospital bed? Had he ever imagined looking at her in his own child? Stretching his eyes upward and allowing a fresh gulp of air into his lungs, he revealed a genuine thank you to Hunter. Dad. It's Dad, Will. My $6 cup of coffee is getting cold. I'll call you in a bit. Evening settled quietly that evening. The new building tensions took a back seat in their affairs, but still peeked over shoulders, tapping the driver. William had been vying for normal, helping Gwen with homework and then taking the lead in getting Lisa and Alex to bed, usually her routine. Patricia had often been awakened hours later, falling to sleep with both Alex and Lisa wrapped in her arms, a loved end to a day and beginning of a new one. Just not that evening. Lisa, Alex is already asleep. He beat you to snooze land, he heard William say. I can't sleep yet. Can you tell me the forest story? Lisa asked. Sure, which book is that? No, the story you made up. Suddenly enticed by the conversation taking place, Patricia decided to lean against the wall adjacent to Lisa in Alex's room. She listened as William told Lisa a tale of a boy in a forest kingdom under the influence of a frog king who ruled with ferocity. But the boy often dreamed of the forest top, where another kingdom with sparkling towers enticed him from the forest floor. The Frog King did not let the villagers leave the kingdom for fear of their departure for good. Only after he performed a special quest for the king did he earn the opportunity to visit the other kingdom using starlight. Lisa had added in sections he had forgotten to put in from a time before. She heard her interjecting with a few comments like, no, and then he said, and then she said, and giggles in between. Patricia lingered after she heard the words the end, absorbing the moment. William was an anomaly of a man. The same man who she watched intimidate her ex-husband and comfortably wield a weapon with the same creative, loving person who loved whispering stories in her ear while wrapped in his arms, and then delivering a whimsical tale of frog kings and sparkles. It made her smile and laugh to herself outside of her children's door. Can you help me draw the Star Kingdom tomorrow? I think it should have a river with sparkles in the middle of town. Of course, Lise. I'll be very happy to help you. You are spot on about the sparkles. What color? I think purple. Her voice sounded like she was about ready to close her eyes, dreaming of a kingdom in the forest. Purple it is. Good night, Lise. Night. I love you. There was a long pause. I love you too. Patricia thought of the boy in the forest, wishing to get to another kingdom under the pressure of the Frog King, and wondered how much of that story was factual. William, as a boy, wanting to be anywhere but where he was, hoping to be a part of another kingdom, another life. William left the room, his face averted. That was lovely. You don't fail to surprise me, Will. Hey, I didn't know you were standing there. I thought you were doing something for work. You weren't supposed to. Listening to that was much better than sending a bunch of emails, Patricia said. Thank you for doing that. William hovered in the middle of the hallway. In moments like the one in her possession, she felt he was who he wanted to always be, inspired, playful, aside from that darkened person who stormed within, the person he never displayed but saw himself being. She likes that story, especially the sparkles, which she added. Of course she did, Patricia responded with a smile. You mean a lot to them. They mean a lot to me too. The intensity in his glance often led to moments where words had no place. Only the conversation exchanged right then and there. Nothing hoped to memory, no promises or demands. He let her travel with him for a blink, just as he leaned towards her, prompting a kiss against his dark brown strands of hair. Thank you. You do that a lot. You must have a list of random mentions of thank you. You remember what each one means? She asked. Every single one. Are you going to tell me what that one is for? I will later if you let me. His lighthearted nature slowly vanished, which it always did. Can I show you something? She followed him with an anxiousness quickly building as they made their way to the garage. Either it was something he didn't want anyone to hear, or God forbid something locked away he had hesitated to show her before. Couldn't be welcoming. You never asked anything about what happened in Nevada. You just went silent. So did I. A long trek painfully awaiting to see her children ended with William bloodied and clinging to life, and a child she later learned was her own. It took months to adapt, for him to heal, for them to try to put pieces together that were never present. Say something about what happened? She couldn't. She never wanted to. Why would I ask? I wanted to forget. That's fair, but it's still part of everything. Things that Albert was after, what Rochelle was doing, they are all part of what's happening now. They were never silent, even though we were. William leaned against the cabinet as he flipped through his cell phone. Look at this. On the screen, she saw an image of a building in an area that looked familiar. Los Angeles. Her old familiar setting. She could tell by the building next door to the structure that stood center in the frame. This isn't good. God knows what's happening in the dark around us. The beginning they had thought they had was quickly changing color, fading in its brilliance. William reached into his pocket and retrieved a key. Gun. You know where. He handed her the key. The small bit was frightening to her, what it all meant. Fighting looked very nasty. Patricia, you and the kids mean so much to me. I'll do everything I can to protect that. What does this mean? What's happening? They know exactly what's happening. It feels suffocating. All we can do right now is protect ourselves. Reality is often silenced, weighed her feet, quickened her pulse. Those who created the evils of things never said but presumed were running rampant. It was just a matter of time before the walls William tried to build all came tumbling before them. End of chapter. Well, thank you for being here. We again just read chapter 5 of the Last Consort Adaptation. That's book 2 of a romantic suspense series. If you enjoyed what you heard today, then you can also purchase the book, which is available on Barnes & Noble and also Kobo or the Free Minds publication website. I will also have that information in the chat for you to take advantage of if you are interested in reading along. Also, the first book in the series is The Last Consort Escape, which is, again, the first book, and that's available on Amazon. Also, it's available at my website, laurenschultzauthor.com. And thanks again for being here. Now, I didn't say what I was drinking. I was drinking a Malbec. So that was what I was drinking today. I'm going to go ahead and enjoy that. And I think the neighbors are getting ready to party because of their music. So we'll go ahead and have a nice evening. Thanks again for being here. Check out my website and also follow me on Instagram and Facebook. And I have lots of fun things. And actually right now, before I end this, I'm offering an opportunity for you to kill a character. So if you wish to participate in that fun project that we have going right now, go ahead and email me. My email is Lauren Schull. That's LaurenSchul 350 You can email me there or you can DM me on Instagram. Thanks again for being here. Take care. Have a great evening, and we'll see you next week, and we'll go into chapter 6. Take care.